Today we're taking a look at these NBA matches, which are happening on Wednesday, October 26, 2022, and giving you our best player props, match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Detroit Pistons vs Atlanta Hawks. All 5 Atlanta starters scored in double figures and were led by All-Star Trae Young with 28 points. Dejounte Murray contributed 19 points and 8 rebounds for the Hawks, who missed 27 of their 35 three-point attempts in defeat. The Detroit Pistons are trying to build around 2021 number 1 overall draft pick Cade Cunningham and rank second worst in defensive efficiency. This will be the second of a back-to-back for Detroit, who was outscored in each quarter of a 120-99 road loss against Washington last night. The Pistons, 1-3, missed 20 of their 28 three-point attempts and allowed the Wizards to shoot 52% from the field. Detroit Bojan Bogdanovic matched a game high with 25 points on an 8-for-13 shooting performance. Isaiah Stewart added 13 points and 10 rebounds for the Pistons. Cade Cunningham and rookie Jaden Ivey each finished with a -18 rating for the game. Our player props for that game are Bojan Bogdanovic over 20.5 points, Trae Young over 20.5 points, and Dejounte Murray under 25.5 points. Minnesota Timberwolves vs San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio Spurs look for their 4th consecutive victory when visiting the Minnesota Timberwolves on Wednesday, for the 2nd consecutive game between the two in a 3-day period. San Antonio is 3-1 following its 115-106 victory over Minnesota on Monday. Devin Vassell was the leading scorer for San Antonio with 23 points, while Jakob Poeltl scored 14 points and grabbed 14 rebounds for the Spurs. San Antonio has won 3 straight. The Minnesota Timberwolves look to bounce back from a loss when hosting San Antonio on Wednesday. Minnesota is 2-2 following its 9-point loss to San Antonio on Monday. The leading scorer for Minnesota was Karl Anthony Towns with 27 points, but the Timberwolves shot only 44.2% overall and 25.8% from three-point territory. Minnesota committed 16 turnovers to only 13 by San Antonio. Anthony Edwards is leading Minnesota in scoring with an average of 23.7 points per game, while Rudy Gobert is the leading rebounder with an average of 18.0 rebounds per game, and D'Angelo Russell is the leader in assists with an average of 5.0 assists per game. Minnesota has 6 players averaging double figures in scoring. The Timberwolves are shooting 46.4% overall and 29.5% from three-point territory. Keldon Johnson is the leading scorer for San Antonio with an average of 21.3 points per game, while Jakob Poeltl is the leading rebounder with an average of 10.5 rebounds per game, and Joshua Primo is the leader in assists with an average of 5.3 assists per game. Devin Vassell is the second leading scorer with an average of 18.7 points per game. San Antonio shoots 47.2% overall and 38.8% from three-point territory. Our player props for that game are Jakob Poeltl over 10.5 rebounds, Karl Anthony over 20.5 points, and Joshua Primo over 3.5 assists. Denver Nuggets vs Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers will be in search of their first win of the season on Wednesday when visiting the Denver Nuggets. Los Angeles dropped to 0-3 following its 106-104 loss to the Portland Trail Blazers on Sunday. Los Angeles led by 7 points with less than 2 minutes to play, but were outscored 11-2 down the stretch to lose. James was the leading scorer for Los Angeles in the loss with 31 points. James is leading Los Angeles in scoring, rebounding and assists, with averages of 27.3 points, 11.0 rebounds and 7.3 assists per game. Anthony Davis is the second leading scorer and the second leading rebounder, with averages of 24.7 points and 8.0 rebounds per game. Los Angeles has 4 players averaging double figures in scoring. The Lakers are shooting 40.7% overall and 21.2% from three-point territory. Denver looks to bounce back from a loss when hosting Los Angeles on Wednesday. The Nuggets are 2-2 following a 135-110 loss to the Portland Trail Blazers on Monday. Aaron Gordon was the leading scorer for Denver in the loss with 26 points. Denver was out-rebounded by Portland 45-38, and the Nuggets shot 49.5% overall, while allowing Portland to shoot 57.8%. Nikola Jokic is leading Denver in scoring, rebounding and assists with averages of 20.2 points, 10.2 rebounds and 9.5 assists per game. Michael Porter Jr. is the second leading scorer with an average of 18.0 points per game and is one of 6 players for Denver, averaging double figures in scoring. Denver is shooting 50.1% overall and 41.6% from three-point territory. Our player props are Anthony Davis over 20.5 points and under 12.5 rebounds, Nikola Jokic over 5.5 assists. Utah Jazz vs Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets look for a second consecutive victory when visiting the Utah Jazz on Wednesday. Houston is 1-3 after defeating Utah 114-108 on Monday in the first of 2 consecutive games between the two over a 3-day period. Houston is 1-3 and was led by Kevin Porter Jr. with 26 points in its victory at home on Monday. Jalen Green scored 25 points as the Rockets won for the first time this season after losing each of their first 3 games. Meanwhile, the Utah Jazz were on a nice run before they got stopped by the Rockets on Monday. Jordan Clarkson led the team in scoring with 17 points, Lauri Markkanen added 14 points, while Kelly Olynyk and Jared Vanderbilt scored 13 points apiece. As a team, the Jazz shot 47% from the field and 11 of 32 from the three-point line as they stayed in the contest despite struggling on the offensive end, but they kept shooting themselves in the foot with 20 turnovers, which was the difference in a close contest. Utah looks to bounce back from a loss when hosting Houston on Wednesday. The Jazz are 3-1 following their 6-point loss to Houston on Monday. Jordan Clarkson was the leading scorer for Utah with 17 points, while 6 other players also scored in double figures for the Jazz. Utah was careless with the ball as the Jazz turned the ball over 20 times in Monday's loss. Lauri Markkanen is the leading scorer for Utah with an average of 21.5 points per game, while Jared Vanderbilt is the leading rebounder with an average 10.0 rebounds per game, and Mike Conley is the leader in assists with an average of 9.0 assists per game. Utah has 6 players averaging double figures in scoring. The Jazz shoot 46.2% overall and 38.0% from three-point territory. The Houston Rockets have struggled so far this season, but they were able to put an end to a 3-game skid with a 114-108 home win over the Jazz on Monday. Kevin Porter Jr. led the team with 26 points, 10 rebounds and 4 assists. Jalen Green added 25 points on 9 of 16 shooting, while Jalen Smith Jr. chipped in with 21 points, 9 rebounds and 3 blocks. As a team, the Rockets shot just 42% from the field and 11 of 35 from the three-point line, but this win was actually set up by their defensive effort as they held the Jazz to just 18 points in the first quarter to take the early lead before scoring 37 points in the fourth quarter to escape with a much-needed win. Jalen Green is the leading scorer for Houston with an average of 24.0 points per game, while Kevin Porter Jr. is the second leading scorer and the leader in assists, with averages of 20.8 points and 6.0 assists per game. Alperen Sengun is the leading rebounder with an average of 10.0 rebounds per game. Houston has 5 players averaging double figures in scoring, and the Rockets shoot 42.8% overall and 36.6% from three-point territory. Our player props are Kevin Porter over 15.5 points, Alperen Sengun over 10.5 rebounds, and Jalen Smith over 15.5 points.